So this is how I wash my clothes while travelling, using this bag, this multi-purpose soap, pause and read that if you want, and some water. Yeah. Anyway, and yeah, I'm washing a shirt, 2 pairs of socks, a pair of shorts, and a pair of boxers. As per the recommendation here, it'll be a good reference for you to see how much of this 5 litre bottle I use, so you know, if you do want to do all this yourself, how much water it uses. So this is the process I'm going to be doing. But I prefer to rinse the clothes first, so put them in. I'm going to show you all this, but put them in, rinse it all first, then get rid of your dirty water, then add your soap in, because this stuff is precious to me. So I want to make it go as far as possible. And yeah, water I can normally just fill up at a river. So yeah, first of all, I boil about this much water and then let it cool whilst I do my rinsing. So let's put that on the boil now. Right, so it's starting to bubble, so that'll do us. Doesn't need to be boiling, just hot. So now to add the water roughly to this fill line. As you can see here, roll and clip it like so. Let the air out and give it a scrub. And also, so when you're doing this, it's catching on these little rubber grips. I don't know what the word is. Rubbing on these, so that's the main point. That's scrubbing on your clothes, if you will. So I find that when you're doing it, it's only really washing one side of your clothes, if you will. So I give it a good scrub and then swap it around, and then that way I'm doing both sides of the clothes. Once that's fully rinsed, rinse the water out, give the clothes a further rinse, and then put the detergent in. Doing it the full process like that does as good as a job as a washing machine. It just takes a bit of time. But if you're in a rush or whatever, you could just add water in. I mean, you don't even need to boil it like I've done, which is for the next stage. You can just chuck warm water in, you know, leave it in the sun for a bit, chuck warm water in, chuck your detergent in, give it a scrub, and it'll do a good enough job. But how I'm doing it now is like the best way of doing, but obviously it takes longer, uses more water, uses a bit of gas. Like I say, if you're in a rush, this would have pretty much done with the detergent in, and it'll do a good enough job, and you know, it'll get a few more days out of it, and then, you know, you might want to alternate it. Quick do like this, and then next time a proper do, but that's up to you. So now I'm turning my clothes around 180 degrees, if you will. And repeating the process. Yeah. So now time to wring these out. and get rid of the dirty water. Put the clothes back in. And add the water back in. And the warm water. And when you do so, you just want to make sure that it's warm to the touch and not any hotter. And then add a squirt of this in. I like to run it down alongside here because that's where I'm going to be doing the scrubbing. Like so. Again, roll in and clip in. Get it all spread about a bit and give it a scrub. And then once I've done this for a couple of minutes, I'm going to turn it over and do the same on the other side. And when I do turn it over, obviously I'm going to add a bit more soap again on for that side, if you will. And then rinse it out. And then we're done. And because it's biodegradable, I can just pour what I'm done with out into the soil and it won't affect the soil in a negative way. Now to wring out again. And then once this is done, I can add a bit more water just to give it a final rinse off, get rid of all the soapiness. But again, that step isn't absolutely necessary, it's just better to do so. And now to add my final bit of water to rinse it all off. And that should do us for the water. So this is a 5 litre tub and it's used roughly 3 litres doing the full process. But obviously, if you just did it how I mentioned earlier, the quicker way of doing it, you'd only use about half as much water, sort of thing. So yeah, give that a final little scrub for good measure. Wring it and dry it. And then I like to just use a tree like this to hang it up to dry. Doesn't really matter, I can turn it around, but wind gets to it, sun gets to it. Doesn't take long to dry in this weather. And yeah, I do find that it does as good as a job as a washing machine when you do it by hand. When you do it the full process like I did anyway, it does just as good as a job. I mean, people used to wash clothes by hand back in the day, so with that bit of kit, it certainly does a good enough job for when I'm on my travels. And then I like to turn the bag inside out and just let that drip dry to keep it as fresh as possible and stop it going fusty.